Look at that.
Good thing.
Yeah. We're live to the internet. Hello, internet. How are you today? No reply. All right. Hello and welcome to episode 901 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. I'm your host, Chris Johnston. With me, as always, from Canada is Mr. Greg Seward.
Yellow.
How's it going, sir?
Oh, it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
I feel you on that.
Oh, you have.
Yeah.
I just noticed that you have like an easy chair back there now.
I do have an easy chair back there now. Yeah,
That room looks downright cozy now.
that was always the plan, and it just took me 2 years to implement said plan.
Did
Uh,
you? So did you already have that, or?
no, I did not already
Okay.
have that chair. Yeah, but the plan was to always put a chair there so that I'm not having to sit in my office chair to play video games. I can actually
Yeah,
relax.
office chairs suck for playing video games.
They
I don't know
do.
about
Yeah.
you, but I find actually I find this chair very uncomfortable anyway. But
Yeah.
um, sitting in it for too long is just it's just no good.
I agree. It's a fine chair. This is a fine desk chair, but
Eh, I think we have the
it's not
same
what
one, but
it's not what I want to sit in to play video games.
no,
So,
no.
got a different chair.
Nice.
Yeah, it took me a while to find one that
I
I thought would
mean,
be good and would fit the space and be like the height that I wanted it to be, and yeah, so and the price as well. That was a big thing. Like
found it on the side of the road.
found it on the side of the road, dragged it inside. Yeah,
I'd like to
basically.
fumigate this here chair.
But yeah, it's way more comfortable to play video games on, so I'm happy about that.
Good, nice. Do you actually sit and play video games in there? That is,
I
I know
do.
that's your game room, but is that like where the magic happens, or?
This is where the magic happens.
Okay.
Although I will say, so now because there's a door to the hallway, to the upstairs hallway
You
over
should board that
here,
up. Yeah.
and if I'm sitting in that chair back there, my wife can't see me in this room because there's no way to see, like if I'm playing a game or
So far, nothing you've said is bad.
reading or something. So I'm thinking I have to get one of those like one of those corner mirrors that they have if you're like pulling out of a driveway and
Could she not just call your name and do you not answer when she calls your name,
I
or?
do. I
I don't
do.
understand
Yeah.
where the problem is.
What if
Is
I have
this
headphones
is this an
on?
issue? Oh, okay. Is this an issue you've invented in your head, or is it something she said?
Something
Like
that
this
she
is a problem.
said.
Okay.
She said
All right.
like she didn't know that I was in here, even though I was playing something. And yeah. So
All right.
the TV's on. You can see the
Yeah.
TV from the hallway, but anyway. Yeah, it's coming together. It's coming
Yeah. It
together.
looks great. I mean,
I like I like
I
them.
I don't know what we're gonna make fun of you for now because the room looks nice. No, it's just because I find that like my modern consoles are all hooked up to. I'm sitting in my family room. Anyone who can see behind me can tell that there's like a couch and a coffee table and everything back there. But
Yeah.
like my TV is mounted on the wall right here, and
Mhm.
so my modern consoles are all there. But I do have a CRT in a game room downstairs, which kind of similar to the setup you've got there. Although I have way more shelving in mine.
Yeah.
Um, but I found ever since I set it up that I don't use it enough. Like
Mm.
I don't spend enough time in there, like to the point that I go out of my way to go down and spend like an hour every now and then just grab something off the shelf and play it.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, I just find now that it's set up, it's like, okay, well that's done. And then I just don't think about it.
Yeah. Well, I only have modern consoles, so they're all hooked up to that TV right there. I have, a mini console and the Android
Yeah.
console that you guys sent me, and I play everything on that TV. So yeah, it's good fun. Now I have a chair. I can actually enjoy my games. I don't have to stand anymore.
A comfy chair,
A comfy chair. Yeah,
like the Spanish Inquisition.
that's right. We don't have Phil today. Phil is on a brocation.
Yes. We probably could have asked Dana to come on.
we had we had the foresight, Yeah, we could have asked Dana to be our guest instead. But yeah, Phil is enjoying the sun probably in Southern California.
I don't know. Did I hear it snowed down there?
Did it really?
Actually, I don't know if that was
Here it
Southern
was
California.
rainy,
I just saw a headline that said that California was blanketed in snow, but I mean, California's a big place, so
and it has a lot of different climates depending
yeah.
on where you are in the
Southern
state.
California probably doesn't get a whole lot of snow.
Right, right. But yeah, he's he probably posted it to social. I have to imagine he did. He's at Disneyland.
The only thing I saw him post to social was the fact that he took down 1970s era Tupperware so that he could drink blue milk out of a film.
Oh, right.
What was the word? Anyway, it
It
looks
was
like the
like a
same
film
cup you drink
authentic
out of in the film
experience.
authentic experience, which just, yeah, okay.
That's very Phil.
That is very Phil.
Yeah.
I hope he had to carry, I hope he couldn't find a place to rinse it and he had to carry around a soiled cup the rest of the day.
Yeah, that would kind of suck to have to go. You'd want to go on rides and things. You want to carry around a cup with you? I don't know.
No, you don't.
Wonder if he has a fanny pack specifically for the cup. We'll have to ask him when he gets back.
It's like he probably wears it around his neck, like wine tasters. You know, wine tasters have the little cups around there. Have you ever seen that?
No, I don't think
Apparently a
so.
thing. It's
Oh,
apparently a thing. Yeah, like people who go to, I don't know if this is true. You know how I saw it was on like apparently some members of the Bare Naked Ladies were into like wine tasting,
uh-huh.
and so like you go to a vineyard for a tour, and of course you usually get to sample all the
Sure.
wines, but there's like there's an etiquette to it, and like I think like people are really serious about it don't actually like swallow.
No, you smell it.
They smell it and they taste
Yeah.
it and they spit it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, they're spitters, they don't swallow. So the but what they had was I think they had them on chains around their necks, were just like little cups, like their own personal cups for it. So
I would
I
like
don't
that
know.
just in regular life. Let's just do that in case, right?
By the
So
way,
yeah,
spit
no Phil.
don't swallow is the front runner for this episode's title, right?
Sure it can
Yeah,
be.
it is.
You'll have to tell me later
I'm gonna look
'cause
that
I'll
up.
forget it.
Not
I'll
spit
forget
don't
it.
swallow. I'm gonna look up the wine thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, don't Google the other thing. All right,
I
let's
mean,
talk
it'll
about
show up in my Google anyway, but
well, yeah. Let's talk about some video game
that's
news.
clearly hacked.
What a crappy week for the industry, I would say.
What a crappy year so far.
Yeah, I mean, we've got more layoffs announced this week, this time from EA, Sony, Deck 9, Supermassive. We had a Twisted Metal game canceled. Um just bad things all around.
I feel like everyone was waiting for the first person to blink. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's like, okay, now that somebody has
There's
done
just
sort
a
of
waterfall.
massive layoffs, yeah, it's just like a waterfall effect now where it's like, well, now we're free to do it too.
Yeah. And
You
as
know?
part of this, Sony closed London studio, which was their big VR studio.
Which we talked about last week, how it feels like PSVR is basically dead.
Yeah, and Firesprite, who did a lot of the work on Call of the Mountain, Horizon Call of the Mountain, also had layoffs. So yeah, like what is happening?
I mean, we've talked about this before. I think that the current budgets are unsustainable.
Yeah,
I mean, like
that's for sure.
Spider-Man 2 was considered a relatively cheap game to make, was it not? And it was still like what, 300 million or something like that? Like,
Something like that. Yeah,
and they're still losing people.
yeah. They still had to participate in the layoffs as well.
So, you know, like and my big concern now is that Grand Theft Auto 6 is not that far away,
Yeah.
and that's going to come out and set expectations again,
Hmm.
because I feel like that's kind of what has happened, right? Like, I'm not laying the blame entirely Grand Theft Auto's feat, obviously, but I mean, Rockstar was very successful with
Yeah.
this format where it's just these huge open world games, starting with GTA 3, and it feels like if you're not doing a service game, then that's what you're chasing.
Yeah.
And it's just those games are expensive to make, and not everyone has the war chest that Rockstar, I mean, very rightfully has, because they've been very, very successful. But I don't know, and I mean, I think that we need to redefine what a AAA game is, but I don't believe that studios will be ballsy enough to do that.
No, and I think it'll be hard to do that because I mean, it's just like free to play. Everybody agreed that free to play games or even like mobile, the race to the bottom is bad, but nobody wanted to blink and
Right.
do
Everybody
something different.
participated anyway.
They
Yeah.
just continued down that rabbit hole.
Everyone agreed it was bad, and then it just infested console gaming and
Yeah.
PC gaming.
But also, I'm wondering because we had a couple of indie studios like Degut Fabric dissolve or close this week as well. I'm wondering if things on the other side of the industry also are not as good as it might seem because here's a small studio that's closing because funding is drying up or publishers don't want what they're making, and that's another bad another bad thing, right? Like, so
Yeah.
yes, AAA on the big side of things, that is bad, and then also on the small side of things it sounds like things are not good either.
Yeah.
And then to me, in the middle of it, you have these free to play games that are causing people, to play one game for a long period of time, maybe not
Yeah.
sort of stretching out and playing some of these other experiences that are being released. And that's concerning too. It's like, yeah, free to play and the sort of FOMO and service game thing got people on a treadmill. And
Yeah.
are they willing to get off of that treadmill to try some different games?
Well, that's just it, right? There's no, I don't want to say sampling, because I mean, the other thing is that games are so expensive now that,
Mm,
it's I feel it's harder to take a chance on something. But I
yeah.
mean, you do have the services as well. But I'm
Yeah.
curious about that too. Like, I'm wondering what the return is on being on one of the free services.
Yeah.
And if it's enough to sustain a studio. I have to guess it's not, but I really don't know what the finances are for that stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like we're in this spot now, like you said, like free to play is not generating the revenue that it once was. Well, it's not for everybody. It's
Yeah.
for a select few. It's generating a lot, but I
Sure.
mean, free to play has its own problems because you
It
got to stay
does.
fresh. You're like,
Yeah.
it's not the player. It's not just the player that's on the treadmill. It's the developers, right? I mean, you need a roadmap, and you've got to sustain it, and that's expensive.
Yeah.
So if it's not making money, you got to shut it down. And then you're kind of in the same situation that you're in with these AAA games, where they take years to make now. And I mean, you watch the credits. It's funny because when I finished Tomb Raider last week, they showed the original team at core. Like, at one point, once you got through the credits of, Embracer and the administrative side of things, and Saber and Spire, and there was a lot of people there. It wasn't as much as like a AAA game, but it's still a lot of people. Then it gets to the original core team, and it was like, I don't know exactly the number, but it was like a dozen people at most. It might not even have been that many,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, now you've got so many people that you're paying, and your games, rather than a 1-year turnaround, your games are taking 3 or 4 or 5 years. That's a lot of salaries to pay
Yeah.
with no income if you're not doing a live service.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It just
And
seems so unsustainable.
even going free to play, I don't think is a great option for a lot of multiplayer games. There was that Crash Team Rumble game
Hmm.
that announced this week that they were only doing one more update, and they were going to stop creating content for that less than a year since it came out. And there was a thread on Resetera where someone was like, well, they should have gone free to play. But to me, like free to play, if they'd gone free to play, it probably would have been even faster to stopping
Right.
content releases, because then it's too easy for people to just move on to the next thing. There's
Right.
no investment there from the people who bought it to stay, right? So,
Right. Exactly. Like when you're doing free to play, it feels like you're sort of entering into a contract with the player.
yeah,
Now, I mean, the owners of the games, or like the people, the publisher and the developers have all the power in that contract, but
yeah,
still, there's sort of this unwritten rule that I'm investing in your game.
yeah,
I expect you to feed me new content.
yeah,
Everybody wants Fortnite,
yes.
right?
And just like everybody wanted Pokemon Go or Rocket League or all of these other games that have been part of the Zeitgeist of gaming. They just aren't. You're not able to duplicate that success to a level that is sustainable. So, gonna be interesting to see how things go going forward from here. Like, will we've already heard Embracer canceled something like 25 games uh recently. We've seen Sony obviously canceling Twisted Metal and probably other projects as well. So, yeah, what are the next couple of years? Because obviously it takes 4 to 6 years to make a AAA game at this point.
Right.
Like, what is gaming going to look like in 2028 and
Well,
2030? Like, these have impacts later. We're not going to feel them now. And to me, like 2023 and 2024 are already shaping up to be like some of the very best years of games, just in terms of the amount of games and the quality that we're getting is just kind of off the charts, in my opinion.
yeah, and they are, but like I said, I mean, it's not sustainable. I don't think.
No,
Like,
I agree.
uh, I don't know. Somebody's got to be the first one to blink, basically, and like I was chatting with a buddy of mine last night about this, and talking about like Ratchet and Clank was a good example. Like, I think that should, something along the size of that game maybe should be closer to what we're aiming for with most AAA games. You
But I
know,
don't. I mean, we think of that maybe as a small game. I don't think it was in terms of
I think it was small
everything.
compared to something like Harry Potter, or
Yeah,
uh it's definitely the next Grand Theft Auto, or most of those triple, or even Spider-Man. I think it was small.
yeah,
I don't know that for sure, but either way, the point being that we I think we need to stop letting Gran Turismo set the standard, or Grand Theft Auto set the standard, or Fortnite set the standard, or
yeah,
Zelda set the standard. Yes, those are like the sort of gold, like there's just this like stratosphere that these super healthy companies with way more money than most people can get away with doing, or with the dedicated audience of somebody like a Nintendo. But I don't know, it seems unsustainable for places like Ubisoft, and you know
yeah.
and Electronic Arts and things like that. So
I mean,
that's just
speaking
my
of
opinion.
EA, they announced that they are going to focus now on original IP and not. In fact, they canceled Respawn's Mandalorian
God,
game, which I. Why did they do that? That was like a surefire hit, right?
this feels like a song we've heard before, though. Do you remember when they did
Yes.
this, like back in like the mid 2000s as well? Like, we're gonna
Yeah.
focus on
That's when we got
original
Mirror's Edge
IP.
and
Yeah,
Dead Space. We got good games
exactly.
out of that.
And then like a year later, that was over.
Yeah, exactly. That was over, and they were like, "Oh, we want licenses."
Yeah, I mean they do that every now and then.
Yeah, but to have a game like Respawn's Mandalorian game be cut because of it, it's Sad.
Everyone gets to suffer for the insatiable need of stockholders to see a profit every year. That's what's happening.
Well,
And that's
absolutely, that's what's
and that's
happening.
why
Yeah.
and that's why you get EA shifting gears every few years, because it feels fresh after a
Yeah.
few years, even though it's an old idea.
Yeah.
And they'll shift gears again when that starts to go stale.
Sure. When somebody else
And
sees success, they'll be like, "Oh, we got to do
right.
that license
Exactly.
thing."
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That injection of cash when you go public, sure helpful when it happens, but
Hmm.
I don't know, man. You
Got to see
certainly
those
pay for it down
numbers.
the road.
Got to see those numbers always going up, right?
Yep.
Can't have anything be
Can't be happy with
the
healthy.
same. No,
It's got to be profit.
that's unfortunate.
Yep.
Well, in this sort of world where there were a ton of acquisitions, we're seeing some interesting news here. Like Saber Interactive has bought itself back. It's bought its independence from Embracer for $500 million, of course, but it's able to do it. And then Toys for Bob, which was an Activision studio, is also going independent, which that should be really interesting. And apparently Gearbox might be next to gain its independence from Embracer. So
I was gonna say I honestly either forgotten or didn't know that Embracer had bought Gearbox.
yep, that was one of the first ones that they
Was it?
bought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's probably before I was really paying attention then.
But the rumor that Gearbox was going to go independent again has been around for a while, apparently. So that
Okay.
one's not new.
I mean, I hope that I hope that they're successful.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, buying yourself back is maybe good, but then also you have to be a success on your own at that point.
Right.
So
it comes with its own problems.
it certainly does. But in other industry news, Remedy,
I've heard of
who
them.
recently made the amazing Alan Wake 2,
Mhm.
you may know that game,
Mhm.
has gotten the rights to Control back from 505
Yeah.
Games. So this is good. This is good news, I think.
I mean, it's definitely good for them because they've kind of started to build a universe, right? So
They have, yeah.
I mean, Control is in the same. Well, I mean, they've crossover somehow with Alan Wake. So I've
Absolutely.
never played Control, but there are
I need to play more Control. I started it as I do so many games and just
I've noticed that about you.
moved on to something else, or played more Sea of Thieves instead. But I would like to play more Control, and I need to finish Alan Wake 2 as well.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, you do.
need to finish that game. But
Maybe
hey,
stop playing
so
Helldivers for an hour or two and play some Alan Wake 2.
I can't do that. I can't do that. It's impossible. I can't do it. Can't be done. But what can be done? MetaQuest. If you have a MetaQuest headset, maybe you already know about what MetaQuest Plus is. It is their subscription service,
Mhm.
and that started last July. And the way that it works, or the way that it has worked so far, is that you get 2 VR games each month to redeem, kind of like the old Xbox Live games with gold kind of thing, or
Yeah,
very
or
similar to
PlayStation
PlayStation
Plus.
Plus,
Yeah.
where you need to redeem those games within that month, and then you
Mhm.
get to keep them for as long as you have a subscription to the service. So very similar to games with gold and PS Plus in that respect. But they have added now a game catalog for MetaQuest Plus. So now you get, in addition to the 2 games per month, they're going to have a rotating library starting off with 12 games
Okay.
that you can play on an ongoing basis, although they will rotate out. So they will rotate in and out. But I want to highlight it because one of my very favorite VR games, Walkabout Mini Golf, that I have talked about on the show, and I play Walkabout Mini Golf with listeners and members of our Discord every Saturday, is part of MetaQuest Plus game catalog now. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, and they have a deal. You can get an annual subscription for $59.99 USD, and you get $25 in store credit back if you go in with that annual subscription. So for me, it was worth it to upgrade. So now I'm an annual subscriber.
Damn,
MetaQuest
son.
Plus. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll get to play all the games on in the catalog. And how about half of them, maybe more than half, I don't actually own. So that's good too.
Well, yeah, it would kind of suck if you got in there and the whole library was
Yeah.
stuff you already have.
So we got The Climb, we have Demio, we have Aspire 1, we have Fruit Ninja, Hand Physics Lab, Jurassic World, Aftermath, Onward, Red Matter. What's this one? Of course, I clicked the graphic. Township Tale, Sports Scramble Until You Fall, and Walkabout Mini Golf. So those are all heavy hitters on the Quest. So it's good. Good deal. And the MetaQuest 3 is an excellent headset. And hey, if you're going to the MetaQuest store, buy Humanity on March 14th. Actually, you can pre-order right now.
Never heard of
20%
it.
off Humanity.
Never
All
heard
right. We should talk about what we've been playing
of it.
at
Okay.
this point in the show.
This is going to be a short episode because I haven't played anything.
Well, me too. I have been playing just one game this week. I don't know if you can guess what that game is.
Helldivers.
Greg. It's Helldivers 2. Yeah. And this game.
Let me tell you about this game.
Let me tell you about this video game. It is so much fun. You know, back in the day, I mean, I play a lot of online multiplayer games, but you know, to me, there is a difference between like a competitive multiplayer game and one that you just play for fun. I much prefer the games that you just play for fun. I am in no way a competitive player. And games like Fantasy Star Online or Friday the 13th or Overwatch, or which is a competitive game, or Deep Rock Galactic and Sea of Thieves, like those games kind of speak to me more than anything. And Helldivers 2 is one of those games where it just, you hop on with friends or you hop on with randoms, you shoot some bugs or robots, and the shooting feels really good. You're unlocking new guns and trying all of those out. And while there is a sort of meta, a most effective tactic available sort of setup where the internet has decided this is the best gun or this is the best loadout, but the developers of Helldivers 2 have actually made it so that everything is kind of is viable in gameplay.
Okay.
And you know those days of playing Halo multiplayer at EGM, you remember it,
I
Greg,
remember that. I loved
how
it.
much fun that was.
Yeah.
This is bringing back those same vibes, those same kind of good time online multiplayer vibes. And it's just a pure fun game. And right now, my Helldiver is level 20. So I've played a lot and I've been able to unlock a lot of new guns, a lot of stratagems, which are you can call down air support
Okay.
in this game. So you can call like the ships up above the planet to either rain down ammunition on the field or send in what new weapons for you to use. And it just, everything about the game, the graphics, the soundtrack is amazing and totally epic. The loading screen when you were like going to the planet, it's just, you're in these drop pods and they're going down and the music is epic, and like they show you a tooltip about managed democracy. And
So, by the way, that drop pod thing, I think, is straight out of Starship Troopers, the
yeah,
book.
yeah,
I think that's
it
what they
is.
wanted to do in the movie, and they couldn't
Yeah.
make it work right, or they couldn't make it look right.
Well, Helldivers wears its Starship Trooper
I know, that's why I'm bringing it
inspiration
up.
on its sleeve. Like it is truly That's like the whole reason this game exists is
Mhm.
because of the book of Starship Troopers. Yeah. And it's just everything about it is great. Like I'm always finding out new gameplay wrinkles that I didn't know, like or ways to use guns to hit the bugs harder, hit the robots harder, and kill them faster. And it's just super fun. It's bringing back that sort of old time video game, multiplayer video game feel. And it because it's a cooperative game and because the community as a whole has cooperative goals that they're trying to reach. There is this meta story over the whole thing of either the bugs or the robots advancing on Super Earth. And
Mhm.
you're
Super Earth.
that's what it's called.
God.
And you like every few days they introduce a community goal that the community needs to
Mhm.
maintain control of these two planets because the bugs are overrunning us, or the robots have made an advance on Super Earth and we need to repel that now. And you have this sort of map where you can see like where the bugs and the automatons have like started making inroads into your space, and it's just beautiful. It knows what it is. It is oftentimes tongue firmly in cheek with like the fake TV broadcasts that they show on the ship.
Mhm.
And it does this thing where if you reload your gun and you still had bullets in it, it ejects those and you lose them. So you really
Oh,
have to
wow.
unload the gun entirely. But there's this
I like that. That's cool. Because
I actually like it
I
too.
am really bad for doing that in like in any shooter where like I'll
I'll hit
shoot 2 or
reload.
3 times and then I just reload immediately.
I do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
it took me a
interesting.
while to get used to it in this game.
Yeah.
But once you do, it it comes naturally. But anyway, there's a broadcast on the ship telling you about this wrinkle that, if you reload without having used all your bullets, you're wasting these bullets. These bullets are on, and General Brash is the narrator of this thing.
Jesus.
And he says your bullets are now lying on the ground, useless, instead of in the hearts of our enemies. Like it's just so like over the top
General
nationalistic
Ironsides,
with
that's what they should have
patriotism. It's
called them.
just like absolutely amazing, and all of the voice lines are great while you're shooting. And it's just one of, I mean, it's definitely going to be on my game of the year list for sure.
Mhm.
It's just so much fun to play. I wish that you and Phil would give this game a chance. I'm sure you won't, but I feel like it is a game you can pop into, have a bunch of fun with, and you're not gonna experience the type of FOMO that you would from a normal service game. Uh, and also the community isn't as toxic as
Yet.
most shooters yet. I hope it never gets to that point. But occasionally, if you play with randoms, you will have them. Like I had a game with a random this weekend where they took my they took my weapon. When you get in a mission, you land, your dropship lands, and then you call down your support weapons. So this other player like grabbed my support weapon, and you have to wait. They're on a cooldown, so I had to wait like 2.5, 5, or no, I had to wait 5 minutes until I could call.
You see CJ running across the battlefield waving, "Hey,
Until I
that's
could call another.
mine."
That's my weapon, dude. Give me that back. Yeah, I mean it's great. It's a fantastic game, and I think you guys would really have fun with it, but I think anybody would have fun with it. Like if you were on the fence about playing this game and you think you might like it, definitely give it a try because it is you'll have a ton of fun with it, I think. And they are doing the thing which I think is probably going to help this game sustain, where they have battle passes and they're introducing a new pass every month, but they don't expire. you can complete them at any time. So whether you
Oh, I
bought the
like
game
that.
at launch or you buy the game 6 months from now, you will have all of those battle pass stuff to progress through. And there is a free battle pass and a premium battle pass. You can earn enough credits in the free one to buy the premium one, and
Okay.
they don't expire. It's just a really great setup. And like I said, everything is viable. Even like the starting equipment, I think is viable on well, most of the time. It's viable unless you're up against the really, really tough enemies, which we went up in I was playing with our good friend Mike. We went up in difficulty and fought a bile titan. Now this thing is a four-legged spider type thing. I think there's a enemy like it in Starship Troopers, but it's huge.
The smart bug.
It's a smart bug, and it walks and just spits goo at you, and
Yeah,
it's
there
instant
is an enemy
death.
like that in Starship Troopers,
It's instant death if it
I
catches you.
think. Yeah.
And you see it, and just the weight of it and the enormity of the enemy, and you feel so small at that point when it's right on your tail. And this game is just so good. So good. Gotta play it. Anyway, that's Helldivers 2. That is the entirety of what I've been playing this week. That wasn't either, for work or walkabout golf with the Discord community. So yeah,
Hmm.
I'm into it. Helldivers 2, all the way. And yeah, you do need it is on Steam and you can play it there. It's crossplay. And if you purchase it on PlayStation 5, you do need to have a PS Plus essential membership to play
I
online.
mean, don't you need to have one to play online in general? Like, that's
Except
not.
for free to play games. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
You
was gonna say
don't
that's
need
not
one to play.
unique to Helldivers, but
No, no. But this is a paid game. It's not a free to play game. Although it is less expensive. It's only $39.99 US.
well, I mean, I what you were saying, I do like a lot of what I heard there because like FOMO is one of the things that just kills any of the. It's
Yeah.
one of the reasons I won't even give a lot of these games a try
Yeah.
because I just am not. I play at my own pace, and I don't want the added pressure of, you know, just oh, I better finish this now because next week it all expires and
Yeah.
it's over. Although, I get that, and I think, I've said before, games like Fortnite do that really well. Don't get me wrong. They've kept that
They
game so
do.
fresh for so long by being that way, and I get it, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
So I really like that. I really like the idea of being able to earn credits in game to help you pay for stuff instead of having to spend money on it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you can
that all
find
sounds
that
good.
stuff in the game, like in maps. You collect all that currency in game
Hmm.
through playing. You don't have to. You
Hmm.
don't. I mean, they do sell packs of it. You don't have to buy that at all.
Sure.
They do have a rotating shop, but again, it's all
How do you get
cosmetic.
in if it's constantly rotating?
It's very difficult. Yeah, it rotates every day, once a day. But there's also 9 difficulty levels. So like all the really hardcore people are on the one side of the difficulty spectrum,
Hmm.
and you can matchmake within your difficulty setting. So if you want to do a particular type of mission at a particular difficulty, you can do that and matchmake with randoms and not feel bad that you're like
Okay.
uh holding people back or yeah.
That's cool. No,
And
there's
the
a lot of good
friendly
there.
fire is on, always on in this
Just like
game.
in Starship Troopers.
Exactly. It's always on. So you will definitely die to friends ammo or potentially grenades or their little drone that shoots lasers. You will definitely die to that, or someone will lay down a minefield and you won't realize it and accidentally blow yourself up.
This is CJ speaking from experience.
Oh, absolutely. Uh, it happens so often, but there are all of these truly epic moments and truly fun moments. And even though some of the gameplay is very stressful in terms of like there's just a ton of enemies on the screen and you're running around trying to juke and get away from them, it it feels just so good. They've done Arrowhead Studios has done just an absolutely amazing job with Helldivers 2, and I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I mean, we have a Helldivers 2 channel on the Discord. If people are looking for people to play with, join our Discord. Check out the Helldivers 2 channel that we have, and get a group together. It's super fun. Yeah, that's it. That's all I've been playing.
Cool. Speaking of stressful, I've been playing more Alan Wake 2. Back into it now that I've finished the first Tomb Raider. I think I'm getting close to the end. I'm not going to say exactly why because that would be a huge spoiler, and I know that you might still go back and play it more. But
Yeah.
like I finally you've gotten to the point where you can switch between Saga and Alan, obviously, right?
Yes.
And you know that you can switch like so their stories run parallel to one another, but you can switch back and forth at almost any time. You have to
Mhm.
find a portal to do it. With it's usually the janitor's bucket in the save rooms. Um, but you can kind of play either side as long as you want and then go back to the other side. But I actually hit a point this week where I was playing as Alan Wake and I was forced back into Saga's story.
Oh, really?
Like
Oh, okay.
it just automatically sent me back.
Hmm.
So that makes me think because I haven't looked at any I don't want to look at any walkthroughs because I'm just sort of experiencing the game. And yeah, I think that means I must be getting close. And plus, you know, when you go on when you go on the PlayStation menu, there's always like whatever story or section of the game you're in. It always give you like a percentage
Percentage.
complete on
Yeah.
one of the cards. And I think I was the Alan Wake card. I was at like 85% of the part I'm in, and then the Saga side, I think I'm at like 80% of the
Oh,
part
all
she's
right.
in. Now that's not the entire game. Those are the chapters, or I forget what they call the Alan Wake side. It's chapters on the Saga side, but I forget what the Alan Wake side is.
It's not episodes.
Maybe it is, or sorry, episodes. Yeah, but I think in the Alan Wake side they call it something else. But anyway, I think I'm getting really close, and I actually got to a bit of a boss battle that really makes me think I'm getting close to the end,
Hmm.
based on what is the context of it. So
Hmm.
all in all, man, it's just it's so good. It's still just so good. I'm every time I play it, I'm so impressed by it. Um, I'm like 25 hours in now. Um, and still like I did put it down to play through Tomb Raider 1, but that was like a pure nostalgia, you know, like just oh, this is awesome. I remember this and I'm gonna go back and play it. But now that I've done that, I do wanna polish off Alan Wake 2 and jumping back into it again. It's just like, oh yeah, right. This is great. This is so
Hmm.
great. So hopefully I'll have it finished up soon. I don't know about this week or not, but I like to. Because as much as I'm enjoying it, I also really, really, really want to play the new Final Fantasy. So,
Right.
but
I have
I'm
seen so many people on my friends list
yeah,
playing Final Fantasy Rebirth.
and it seems like it's getting crazy amounts of praise.
Yeah.
So, but I also want to play I think I screw this word up every time. I think it's called Intergrade, which was like
Yeah.
the DLC for the first one, which I think is like 4 or 5 hours long. But I don't want to jump into any of that until I finish Alan Wake 2. Like that's what's on my plate right now. So, but you know, the longer that's taking, the more I'm just like, I really want to play Final Fantasy. But yeah, hearing great things about it. I'm excited to fire that up. So,
Yeah.
and the other thing that I played this week, and I know Mike's in the chat. This is so sad. Um, so our mutual friend Mike, actually for Christmas gave me an Atari 2600 plus. So I'm gonna hold up here.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
Hmm.
which now that we've started March, I finally opened.
All right.
That's so
Christmas in
pathetic.
March.
Yep. So yeah, I was really excited to get this because I I'm nostalgic for the 2600, but not in the same way that I am for like a Genesis or an NES. Like, you know, those that was kind of um when games became sort of a real focus. But I am nostalgic for the 2600 because we did have one when I was a kid, and like my stepfather at the time, anytime we go to visit him and mom, he had a 2600 that and he had a lot of games. He had some great games in there. So we would, it wasn't like I was having this discussion with a friend of mine last night. It wasn't you didn't sit down for hours and hours and hours to play. At least we didn't sit down for hours and hours and hours to play like 2600 games because they were quick. They were mostly arcade games. They were over in like 2 or 3 minutes, depending on how good you were at them. So like, there wasn't a concept of sitting and playing one game for hours. Like last night I played Alan Wake 2 for 2 hours straight, because that game's made to be played that way.
Yeah.
But we would always, and even when we had one at home, like when my brother and I came home from school, sometimes we just want to fire it up and play combat for 20 minutes or dodge him or something like that. So but I love that system. I have a lot of really fond memories for the 2600. I also absolutely love the way it looks. Like I just love the design of the classic 2600 with the wood grain on the front, and this is a really faithful recreation, which makes me really happy. It looks so good sitting on the shelf too. So and so it comes with 10 games in one cartridge.
Ooh, nice.
Which has some really great stuff on it. It has adventure, combat, dodgem, which is I think it's my favorite 2600 game. Haunted House, Maze Craze, Missile Command, also one of the best games on there. Volleyball, Surround, Video Pinball, which sucks, but I absolutely love, and Yar's Revenge. But it also plays actual cartridges, 2600 cartridges.
Right.
Which I haven't tested very much because my 2600 cartridges are so old and haven't been used in so long that I'm worried that they're going to be really dirty and it'll gum up the contacts on the 2600 plus. So I need to actually clean those. I brought them all up from down in the game room. There's like 20 of them, all up from down in the game room, and I need to sit down and clean them and really play some of them. But yeah, I was playing this. Comes with a controller that I haven't held a 2600 controller in almost 40 years.
Yeah.
But it feels pretty authentic to me. It's so weird to play a controller like a single button joystick game nowadays. But yeah, man, I was playing Missile Command the other night and I was just loving every second of it. So I was super happy that I finally opened this up and connected it. Can't believe it took almost 3 months. Well, 2 months, but I did. And thank you, Mike, for that. I just need to get these games clean now. I was looking into maybe getting a flash cart for it, but it is apparently the way it's built, because it's similar to like the Retron 5 was. I don't know if you ever used one of those. And there are other. So you remember how that worked, where it was like basically a ROM dump. Like you played real cartridges, but you plug the cartridge in, you turn it on, and it would copy the game.
Yeah.
And then you play it. So you weren't really playing off the cartridge. But because of that, I don't think either flash carts didn't work in it or they didn't work really easily in it.
Right.
And this thing is exactly the same. So like with this 10-in-1 cartridge, if you look on the back, like there are dip switches.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And that's how you change which game it is. Like there's no menu. You set the dip switches, and that's what denotes what game you're going to be playing. So then you put it in, and there's a really quick loading screen, and then it boots up like like a traditional cartridge. So what I've been reading is flash cartridges with ROMs on them won't work, but I think there's at least one that's out there that you can like flash it to be a single game, and that'll work. But that seems like a pain in the ass. I don't, that means anytime you'd want to play something, you'd have to flash it to be that single game. So I don't know if I want to do that. But I am excited to get my old collection cleaned up, and hopefully most of them work. I know this thing has some compatibility issues because I watched a couple of videos when it first launched, and there were some games that I think just didn't work. Like people were testing them on actual hardware, and the game would work, but then it just wouldn't work on this thing. But I think it's a pretty small list, and honestly, as long as like Centipede and yeah, Missile Command and like Enduro Racer and stuff work, I'd be happy just to have those and fire them up every now and then for like
Sure.
10 minutes or so, because that's what the 2600 was all about. So anyway, yeah, just
All
wanted to
right.
call that out because I know Mike listens, and I'm sure he wondered if I ever opened the damn thing, but I have. By the way, look at the way the cartridge sits in that thing. Come on.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So classic.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing this week.
Wow. All right. I did download the Picross ES Plus, which has the Picross E games
I haven't played Picross in so long.
in it. Yeah, it's just such a good. It's a good thing to return to and get back to. I don't think I've completed one of the collections entirely, but I
Oh,
always
I
go
have.
back to them and play more puzzles.
I
And
think the last one I really played was the Sega one,
that's a really good one.
but I
That
completed
is a
every
really
puzzle
good
in
one.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to completing every puzzle in that one, but I haven't done it completely. All right. Well, I guess I should load up the soundboard because I
I feel
wasn't
like
even
you should have
thinking.
done that before we even started, but anyway.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Am I even? Yeah, I am. Okay. And I guess that means it's time for tweets.
Tweedly diddly tweedly diddly tweet 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 tweet.
All right. Let's do this one from hacker alias JCA Farley, who says, "In what specific way will Nintendo mess up the Switch 2? No backwards
Jeez.
compatibility, a second screen, Joy-Cons made out of cardboard?" Hmm.
No seconds. I feel like not having a second screen won't be screwing up the Switch too.
No, he said add a
Oh,
second. Like,
add a
will
second
they
screen.
add a
Yeah.
second screen and screw up the Switch 2?
I don't know. I don't know. The backwards compatibility thing.
I feel like they can't do a Switch 2 without backwards compatibility at this point.
Yeah, I mean they've had good excuses previously, like not having Wii U compatibility because when they basically went back to cartridges. So,
Yeah,
but they've also made a lot of money reselling Wii U games on the
on the
Switch.
Switch.
So there's a bit of a revenue generator there that you gotta wonder if they don't want to
Well,
keep going.
what I see with that is it's not re-releasing Wii U games on Switch, more that it is allowing them to make the revenue that they
That they
should have
didn't make
made
on the Wii U.
on the Wii U on the Switch.
No, I agree. Yeah. So I think by rights there should be backwards compatibility with the Switch 2,
Yeah.
but you never know.
Right. I mean the there are so many ways that Nintendo can mess up the Switch too. I think probably it'll be spec based, or it like won't have achievements, or it'll be just like the Switch. It won't have traditional folders or themes
Mhm.
either, and we'll have to deal with that. People will be like, "Oh, well, it's the Switch 2, and yes, it's better, but it has absolutely no upgrades in terms of the OS."
Right. Yeah. I have to say that I don't think they're going to screw it up.
I don't think they will
So,
either. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that. They will screw it up for some audience. There will be a group
oh
of
well,
people
yeah,
on the
sure.
internet that do not like the Switch
But I
2 for
mean,
whatever reason.
you can say that about absolutely everything.
It'll be either like specs, or the rumors are wrong and there's no DLSS in this, or something like that, or it's not 4K. So that'll be a big thing. Like it'll be messed up, quote unquote messed up in that way.
Mhm.
But I personally don't care about that. And without a doubt that Nintendo is going to make some great software for
Well,
it.
yeah.
So I almost don't really care. I mean, I
Yeah.
love the Wii U. And you could say Nintendo screwed that up entirely. And I still liked it. So I mean, if it's all about the games, it's not going to matter what way they screwed up, and they will screw something up where people on the internet will be upset.
Yeah, I wouldn't equate people on the internet being upset with screwing something up though, personally,
No,
because
okay.
because it's always going to happen. So
Well,
I
yeah,
mean, that doesn't mean that you've screwed up necessarily.
yeah, yeah. Remember how much people bitched about the PlayStation Portal when that thing got announced on last May? Do you remember
Yeah.
the uproar? People absolutely hated that, and Sony can't keep that thing in stock.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know what kind of success they're seeing with it, but I mean, that's a great example. Like having people pissed off about it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. I guess you have to worry about whether the audience you're aiming it at is pissed off at it,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
But I
that's
mean that
true.
the portal was aimed at a very specific audience. So
Exactly. Me. It was aimed at me.
it was aimed at you, directly at you.
Directly me, and it is a hit. I was playing Helldivers 2 this morning on the PlayStation Portal from bed. It was great.
Wow.
All
Get out
right.
of bed once in a while.
What's that?
Get out of bed once in a while. How
Why
about
would I want to do that? Well, now I have this comfy chair over here. I can get out of bed and move to the comfy chair. All right, let's do this one from Hacker alias Scoop Jessica, who says, "What's the best cat game? Could be a game featuring cats or a game cats might like to interact with. We recently got a cat, and I have been playing a lot of Fit My Cat on the Switch, but she's unamused by it.
I mean, Stray.
Stray, absolutely. Stray is the answer.
And then just get a dog.
I actually can't think of um I've had cats for a long time, and I can't think of a time where they've like tried to interact with the TV based on something that I've been playing.
What I love is I mean, I work from home and I spend a lot of my time in meetings, so they're all obviously Zoom or Hangouts or whatever.
Yeah.
And boy, do most people's cats hate when they're on video calls
Well,
because they're not paying attention to the cat, obviously. But there's a couple people on a couple of my teams that they just have cats that are very, very, very much all about walking across that camera constantly and constantly
Yeah.
parking themselves so that all you can see is their butt.
Yeah.
And that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've also never had a cat that did that. So
Really?
we have two cats right now, and they do not try to get in my business while on a work call. Or
Do they even come in that room though?
they do, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Cool.
yes, indeed. All right, we are going to do this one from Hacker Alias Namava, who says, "I recently finished 13, which I disliked enough that I used cheats to get through the last couple of levels. What games are improved by using cheats?"
Most of them.
Most games. Yeah,
Um
you remember the cheats section of most video game magazines, and I feel like
Hell,
now
my career started at a magazine that was all cheat
all
section.
cheats.
I
Right.
mean, Expert Gamer, I go back and read those now, and a full half of the magazine is just a list of cheat codes.
It feels like we don't get enough of that. By the way, I'm gonna
That's a
take a
big
small
deal.
detour here and just talk about Helldivers one more second. The things that you call down from the ship, and actually, whenever you interact with terminals in the game to like do some of the missions, you have
Mhm.
to input a D-pad, a pattern, a series of directionals.
Okay.
So you have to say like up, up, down, down, left, right, or something
Nice.
like that. And it'll be like a sequence that is like 10 directionals long, and you have to sit there and do it. Or like to revive other players, you have to
So
input
is
a
this just
code.
so that you can't so that it's not too quick? Is that the idea? Like
I think that is the idea ultimately, that it's not too quick and you don't just press a button and do it. It
right.
feels like you're doing something.
I have to call Ms in the chat to task. Tips and tricks was the best for cheat codes. How dare you?
What about Expert Gamer?
What about Expert Gamer?
Hmm.
Which could never be Tips and Tricks, which is why it became Game Now. But
Exactly.
yeah.
But anyway, to get along with the cheat code type thing, which yes, calling stratagems in Helldivers 2 is very much like a cheat code.
I mean, yeah, but lots of games. I mean, how did you know anybody who played Contra without the Konami code when they were a kid?
No.
No, exactly.
Did you try it on the demo for Operation
No, but I
Beluga?
assume it does something. I never
I
even
assume it
bothered.
does something too. I didn't
Yeah,
try it either.
yeah. Well, there's no B or A button on the PlayStation, so I don't know.
Well, it had to be X and O,
I
right?
know. I'm just
Yeah.
yeah, or like the blood, obviously the blood code in Mortal Kombat. But
Yeah.
no, I don't know. I don't use cheats very much anymore. But now we're in an era where like you can fine tune the difficulty on so many games so
And
much just by
it's
using menu sliders.
it's not a cheat, it's an accessibility feature
Right.
now.
So, it's
Yeah.
not quite the same thing, but
Uh,
I do love I always used to love that stuff because obviously all that stuff mostly existed for testing purposes,
yeah,
but yeah, it felt like finding buried treasure back then.
totally.
When I bought issues of Expert Gamer
I
for
see.
codes and amazing strategy guides.
Strategies. Yeah. The internet has replaced all of that though.
Yeah,
So
stupid game facts.
there you go. All right. Let me look and see. Did we get any here on Twitter?
Blue sky. Oh,
All right, let's do this one from Hacker Alias. Oh, it's the Nintendo Shack. We got a tweet from Shack Life, aka the Nintendo Shack, which is a PSVG podcast.
okay.
Yeah. So they say arms slaps. What would you add? What would you add
Oh,
or do
arms.
different for a sequel?
I
Speaking of sequels, what Switch sequel would you like announced with Switch 2 and why is it Astral Chain?
sorry, it's Mario Kart 9.
No, yeah, it's definitely Mario Kart, new Mario Kart.
I don't. You know what? I remember very little of Arms. I think was there a demo?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a demo.
I played the
There's also
demo.
like an online beta for
Yeah,
the
I played
ARMS.
one of those.
Yeah. I thought ARMS was really fun. I'm not a fighting game person though, and to me at a certain point it became a fighting game and I kind of lost interest in it. But I did like the thing I did like about it was the online lobby system because you could have a lobby with a bunch of friends and have like a tournament or whatever and it would just keep matching two players up
Oh,
against each
cool.
other and you only had to wait maybe a little bit to be put into a next game. I thought that system was way ahead of its time and I wish that other multiplayer games used that kind of a system. And it kind of works really well, I would think, for fighting games. And I'm not even sure if other fighting games use it, but I thought it was great in ARMS.
Hmm. Yeah,
Are they even going to make a sequel for ARMS? I don't know that they will.
I don't know. I mean, you never know, I guess, but I don't feel like that game had the kind of impact that would justify a sequel. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, let's finish up with this one, which kind of gloms on to Nintendo Shack's question and asks for our Switch launch memories. This is from I'm sorry, Hacker Alias or listener Jason Williams, who says Switch launch memories. I bought one at launch with Zelda, of course, and snipper clips. Best snipper clips, or I'm sorry, beat snipper clips with my 11-year-old and 13-year-old sons.
Aw, that's great.
That is great. Quickly realized I'd have to buy another Switch because my kids weren't happy with dad taking Switch on the go, leaving them with nothing to play at home. Whoops.
I mean, yeah, the Switch launch was all Zelda for me, I think,
Same.
and I wasn't crazy about it. So I feel like I mean, I played through it, but I wasn't really on board. I wasn't ride or die with the Switch from the start or anything like that. Um, but I really started to appreciate it after a while. I did like the portability at the time. I
Mm.
always hated the Joy Cons.
Mm.
Just always found them super uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's one way they'll mess up the Switch. They won't improve the Joy-Con.
Right.
The Switch 2. They won't improve the Joy-Con. That'll be what they mess up. Uh,
But I like I what was it?
Were you at
Shoot.
GDC that year?
No,
Because it came
maybe I
out.
was.
It came out during GDC. It was like the last day of GDC.
Maybe, but I had already pre-ordered it.
I had too, so I didn't buy
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
in
you
San
might be
Francisco.
right. That might what year was that? That was 7 years ago? Yeah, it might have been.
2017.
It might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I wouldn't have had it then. I had pre-ordered it. So that's the thing, like talking about console launch memories, I don't have strong memories of any of the current console launches because I just
Yeah.
pre-order them and wait for them to show up. Like there's no going out and getting them. There's no picking up the box at the store, and
Yeah.
even the generation before that, I think I still ordered them online, but I ordered them to show up at my office just because I didn't want to miss them, right? So I remember getting them at the office, and that was kind of cool, opening it up and have everyone kind of crowd around to see the Xbox One and stuff like that. Like, and then stupidly having to carry that to my car in the middle of the night. That was dumb. But I didn't get mugged or anything. But like I don't really have any strong memories of console launches anymore. Not like PlayStation 2 or Wii or PlayStation 3, even stuff like that. Or Xbox 360. Like those were events. But the current ones just didn't feel like it. I mean, it's still cool to get new hardware, don't get me wrong. And the Switch, I think out of the three of them was the most exciting to get just because it was so different to what had come before. But I still don't have super strong memories of it.
Yeah, I had pre-ordered the Switch and I was at GDC in 2017. So like the day that I got back to Atlanta was the day that it was going to arrive. And
Nice.
I ordered a Switch on Amazon, and I ordered a physical copy of Zelda Breath of the Wild in anticipation that the eShop would crumble
Go
under the
down.
weight
Right.
of so many people trying to buy the digital version, even though I am an all digital player. So I ordered the physical version just in case I couldn't get on the eShop and download it, which actually turned out wasn't an issue. But my daughter ended up playing the physical version on her Switch because I ordered two
I remember you
Switches
talking about that. Yep.
at launch. So she used the physical version and I bought the digital. Yeah. I bought Pro Controller. I got the red and blue Switch, and then also the gray Joy-Con Switch,
Mm-hmm.
so that I could tell which.
Oh yeah, you
which
and
was
Phil both
which.
were buying the multiples pretty much right out of the gate, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I resisted that for quite a while. Actually,
yeah.
I never did buy it. I never did buy an extra one. My ex-wife ended up buying them for the kids who wanted them. My son got one and stopped playing it almost immediately.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he ended up selling it pretty fast.
Why's that?
More interested in stuff on Xbox.
PC?
He's a big Xbox
Xbox.
gamer.
Okay.
All his friends are on Xbox, so and my daughter still has one. She plays Pokemon on it mostly, but she hasn't in a while because she's really into Harry Potter right now on the PS5.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and of course I bought Snipper Clips as well, and played a little bit of that with Charlotte. We never finished it though.
Has anyone
need to go
finished?
back and
No, the
finish it.
person who asked the question finished it, but
Exactly. But yeah, that was a great time. The eShop, you could actually browse it and it wouldn't be unusable like it is now on the console.
right.
It was
And
great.
it wasn't
Great
filled with
time.
a bunch of shovelware.
Wasn't filled with a bunch of shovelware. No. How many versions of AAA Clock do we really need? I don't
Yeah.
know.
No Panty Raiders or whatever those games are called. And
Ugh. Yeah. Yeah.
I still can't believe, like, if you had told me in like the late 90s
Hmm.
that some of the games that are on the eShop would be on Nintendo consoles, I would have
Yeah.
called you a liar. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I agree.
crazy to me how much that has just opened up.
But then again, if you look at the PlayStation store, it's almost just as bad.
Oh yeah, but I'm just
With
saying, like, but the thing is that Nintendo's reputation was, just
quality.
you'd never ever see that.
Right. You wouldn't. You wouldn't. You're right. Alrighty. Hey, I think that's a show. I think that's it.
All right,
What do you think about that?
it's a show.
Okay. Clearly, it is a show. All right. Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us, I would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to at P1 Podcast on X, on Threads, or whatever social media platform you happen to use. We will probably see it at some point. And if you're not into that, we have a website, player1podcast.com. And there you'll see our contact information. You'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Stewart. You'll find Generation 16 episodes as they happen. You will find show notes and links to all the things that we talked about in an episode like this. And you will find a link to our Discord server where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
Just so you know, there will be a new play Generation 16 episode this coming Saturday.
Excellent.
The
All
next time
right.
we record, the new episode will be live. So look forward to it.
Perfect. Yeah.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by going to player1podcast.com or to the Apple Podcast app.
Yeah.
I hate figuring this out. I
We're on
don't remember what Phil
Spotify.
says here. What's that?
We're on Spotify.
We're on Spotify. We're on other services I'm not going to name because I usually get them wrong.
Yep.
Basically, anywhere you get your podcasts, you'll find us.
Yeah.
And if you want to watch us live, you can usually do so every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I almost said 9:30 again. And that's on Facebook. That's on Twitch. That's on X. It's on YouTube. So you can find us there. You can hang out in the chat and make fun of us in real time for all the stupid things we say. If you would like to support the Player One Podcast, you can do so by going to patreon.com/P1 Podcast, where you can give us your hard-earned money to help us keep this show afloat. CJ has got to pay for that new easy chair some way. Somehow.
Show funds are not used for the easy chair. No.
Just the
easy
footrest?
downloading of this podcast that our listeners do each week.
And thank you for that. Yes, but yeah, it keeps the lights on. Not just CJ's lights, but in general. Keeps the podcast going, keeps the expenses down. And if you are a patron of the $5 variety,
cheap.
Thank you, CJ. One job. You get access to the after show where we play games, we crack wise, we do all the things we can't do on the ordinary show. CJ.
Yeah.
Do we have a game this week?
Well, a game of sorts. We decided we're going to do
Game of sorts sounds like a failed HBO pilot.
We're going to do an EGM review game, but we're going to give each other reviews, basically. You choose an issue in a review and you read it and blank out the names, and I have to guess, and then I do the same and you have to guess. We'll do a couple rounds of that.
Let's do that then. That sounds good. It's a good time.
Do you have an issue of EGM
nope.
queued up? Because
nope.
you were the one who suggested
I know.
This
as soon as we're finished,
game.
I'm going to go over there to my collection of EGMs and just grab one.
Okay.
Don't know what's going to be in it. Don't care.
Alrighty.
So I'm sure it'll be good listening. Please, please support us.
That
makes it sound like you shouldn't support us, but I feel like you should.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Then next week we're going to do a Starship Troopers thing.
Maybe
once Phil's
we'll
back.
See. Yeah. We'll see if somebody screws that up.
No one's going to screw it up.
We have to do it next week because the following week I won't be here.
Well, there you go.
Oh, wait a minute. No, it's the week after that. Yeah, sorry, I don't
We'll
remember.
figure something out.
Some weekend this month. I'm not going to be here.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, okay. I think that's it. CJ,
yeah.
thank you so much for hosting.
Thank you, Greg.
The room looks great.
Thank you.
Phil, I hope you're having a good time
May the
drinking your blue
force
milk.
be with you and all that.
May the force be with you. And thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in like you do every week. We really appreciate it. And hope to see you again next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.